And we're now joined by Christopher Bell, driver of the number 20 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. You have a question for Christopher? Please raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you. Okay, we'll start with Reed. You got a mic for Reed? Reed.
Thank you. Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire Service. With SVG winning the Chicago Street Race last year, a lot of people might forget that you led the most laps, won both stages, and had at one point had a 9-second lead. Given the fact that you just won a wet race at New Hampshire, would you prefer wet or dry there next Sunday? And is there any part of that course that's either incredibly technical or a place where you have to make speed to make a good lap time?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think I would probably prefer rain. Going into the Chicago Street Race, we had a really good practice, and I was looking forward to a dry race. And then in the wet, whenever they started the race, we took off, so it was really good. The track is very, very technical, and it's very high risk, high reward. So I think it's turn 4, which is it's a very, very fast section of the racetrack. It gets very, very tight, and you have to push hard through there to make a lot of lap time. And then I don't know the turns very well, but after we come through like the little half circle on the backside of the racetrack, that's another section that's super fast, super rough. It's easy to throw yourself right into the wall there. So the racetrack is just filled with very high risk, high reward corners, and it's if you're going to do good, you're going to have to push the car and be right on the edge.
Rob Albright, PRN Radio. Christopher, you're a genuinely humble guy, and you have insisted consistently that it's not about you in that race car at New Hampshire. It's the cars they bring and the guys who do the work on them. Are you finally, after last weekend, to admit that Christopher Bell has something special behind the wheel of that race car at New Hampshire?
Well, I will say that our package is really good there. Obviously, Adam has been doing a great job of giving me what I need to be successful. So, it goes hand in hand, and I'm not going to win without Adam, and Adam has won there without me. So, but it goes hand in hand, and it works both ways. So, yeah, I mean, I will admit that it's a good racetrack for me, but my cars are really good there as well.
Okay, we'll go next to Peter Strada, then to Tom.
Peter Strada, TSJ Sports. Christopher, going off that question, even with 3 top 10s here, you've said you're lacking some feel here at Nashville. What exactly are you lacking here compared to somewhere like New Hampshire?
Yeah, I don't know. I just I felt really good with the old car whenever we came here, but then both races with the next gen car, it's been very hit or miss, or actually it's been more miss than hit. So last year, looking back at it, I had some times in the race where I had speed that was capable of the front runners. So that leaves me optimistic about today, but it's just a track that we don't have a lot of time on. Nobody has a lot of time on, so hopefully we can make improvements on it this year.
Christopher, Tom Greger with the Tennessean. It seems to be a Gibbs versus Hendrick year. What is it about those two organizations, especially with your organization, with Gibbs, why are you guys so strong ahead of everyone else right now?
Man, I don't know. Obviously, it's 2 of the premier teams in the sport, and they've got really, really good people at Hendrick and at Gibbs, and it's showing. And I think that whenever Next Gen came out, there was a lot of parity in the field because nobody knew what the car liked as far as setups and stuff like that. And as we've got deeper into the Next Gen era, you're starting to see the cream rise to the top again.
Okay, we'll go to Cameron and then Jim.
Cameron Richardson, NASCAR.com. This is your first season where you've had multiple wins before the playoffs. So how does it feel knowing that as you continue to build the playoff points that, hey, I've had these superhero clutch moments in the playoffs, but if everything goes right, you won't have to have that. You may not have to have that this year.
Oh my gosh, man. We've been trying to work towards this for, the last 3 years. And it feels very, very rewarding to have playoff points in the bank right now, and we've got still a great opportunity to get more. So this is what everybody wants in the regular season, is to get out of here with a bunch of playoff points. So it feels much different than what we've had in the past, that's for sure.
Go next to Jim and then Lee.
Jim Utter, motorsport.com. Last week, when you came in after the win, you talked about a tale of two races. And I just wondered if you'd had any time with Adam to kind of figure out what were the elements that made you so much better in the wet weather situation?
I mean, yeah, we debrief every Monday, so we've had plenty of time to talk about it at this point, and it's just it's not one thing in particular, but definitely just putting the previous experiences to use of what we did at North Wilkesboro whenever we put the rain tires on, what we did at Richmond when we put the rain tires on. So, and then everyone executed really well. My pit crew did a great job in the dry. They didn't take us out of it. They did their job. Whenever we put the wet weather tires on, Adam and the engineers did their job and made sure that the car balance was good. And I was able to keep it out of the wall. So it was just a perfect weekend of execution.
And you just referred to being in a really good situation with the playoff points this year, which you've been working desperately to try to be in every year. Do you find it a little ironic that, like, say, 2 months ago, you might not have thought this situation was even possible, and how quickly your circumstances can change and your outlook for the season?
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show that it can happen at any point. And, before Charlotte, I think I had, 6 maybe? And then at Charlotte, I was able to win the race, win a couple stages, and that bumped me up into the teens. So it doesn't take much to get a big boost in the playoff points. So hopefully we can keep stacking them up, and that's what we're here for. And, so it feels nice to finally be, running how I feel like this 20 car should be running.
Lee Spencer, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio and CatchFence.com. You've had 3 top 10s here. What is it about this track that suits your style?
I mean, the package is really good for the JGR cars. We run the intermediate package here, and while it's a little bit smaller than a normal 1.5 miles, it basically is a concrete 1.5 miles. So it's like Dover and Vegas, Kansas, Charlotte, kind of mixed together. So those are all really good places for JGR, and our cars, suit this racetrack.
Chris Capehart said on the network this week that they're trying something different this week. Is that across the board at JGR, or is that just the 11 car?
That's a good question, and honestly, I have no idea. So I'll let you know here in an hour or so.
Thank you.
We'll go back to Reed.
Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire. After Brickyard, you're going to have 21 days between Cup races.
That's going to be nice.
What are you going to do with yourself? Are you going to pay attention to the Olympics? And if you could envision yourself as an Olympic athlete, what might you be?
What's that sport called? I think it's bobsledding, right? Where you're going down the hills in the ice steel. Oh, a summer sport. All right. Well, bobsledding. I've always been intrigued by bobsledding. I don't know, but yes, I will be paying attention to the sports. And taking it easy. I don't know. I don't have a plan yet, but I'm sure I'll find something to do. Do what? I mean, I guess bobsledding is the one that really intrigues me, though.
Any other questions? All right, Christopher, thanks so much for coming in, and good luck this weekend.
All right, there's the checkered flag. Great job, driver.